Let's get Coach Quinn here talking about their latest acquisition, Martavis Bryant. Everyone kind of
I don't
intrigued
think there's
by
a
this.
U in there. I think it's just Martavis.
Okay,
Yeah.
Martavis Bryant. There's a lot of questions. What does this mean? Is this a real thing? Is this just a camp body? Does this mean they hate the receivers? Why are you signing a guy that hadn't been in the league in 6 years?
Will he play in the Miami game?
Dude, they were saying, just for the record, that he was getting some first-team reps yesterday in practice.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I saw him interviewed on the field after practice. He seemed like he was real happy. He seemed like a good dude.
He's very driven.
Yeah.
He says he never gives up on himself. But let's hear what Coach Quinn says about the idea behind signing Martavis Bryant.
And adding another receiver just into the mix, we thought was the right thing to go just right here in camp. And Martavis has a really cool skill set. He's got size and length and the ability to use him in the red zone. So when you see him today, you'll definitely he'll stand out. He looks like a linebacker playing wide out from a size standpoint. So I got a chance to work with him previously when I was in Dallas, and so I'm looking forward to having him here today.
Obviously when you look at the top receivers on your team, not the smallest guys, but not necessarily bigger guys, is that size? Is that something that you thought is needed more in this room possibly?
Yeah, and I think when you do, how do you feature somebody with that kind of size? What are the routes that they do on these contested catches? So yes, it was definitely part of the consideration.
So I thought it was interesting. There were more questions. I watched his press conference, actually, and everyone was kind of like, what does this mean about the room? Does this mean you're not happy with the receivers? And he wouldn't say that at all. But
Well,
he said,
can't say that. He's not going to take a shot at his players.
Yeah.
right. Well, he could have said, "Hey, I'm just looking for more production." But he said, "I'm not. It's not any signal to anybody. It's just this is how we get down." That's actually the phrase he used. This is how we get down. And I guess that just means there's always competition. We're always looking to upgrade the roster. We're always looking to get better. And this is what we do.
Yeah.
And so
And we kind of talked about that yesterday, the fact that he's 6'4", and they didn't really have a receiver like that. Right. And he just mentioned it in the press conference. We like the fact that he's got size.
right.
Be good in the red zone. It'll be interesting to see how many reps he gets in the preseason
Yeah,
game
they're
number 2 in
saying
Miami.
he got his first taste of practice yesterday. I'm stealing this from Rigo's Rag. They said he made a couple nice blocks, and then he got some first-team reps. So who knows? First day of practice, he got some first-team reps. All right. I know he was also asked about Jayden Daniels, and I don't know exactly what clip Valdez has here, but I wanted to play it. But I'm kind of getting the sense he might play Jayden in that third game. The way this question was asked, I don't know if this is exactly – I think this is where Quinn talks about it. You tell me what you think.
The progression would be one that's good is just a different styles of defense, of how you play, different matchups. So the Jets are a big 4-down front, and so by design it's nice to have, different offense, different defense to work through it. The 4-day block is actually really similar to the Jets as we get into Miami. What we're looking for and, discussions with the coaches and how do we set up practices. So the path, I was pleased with the practice that you guys were able to watch on last Thursday. So it'll be similar to that. And then as we get into the game, some guys may play a little more, some a little less. So it's more on an individual basis.
So, well, that's not exactly the clip I had in mind, but it's fine. They asked him, what is your plan specifically for Jayden? And he kind of talked about ramping it up and what he wants to do. It's kind of in the second game, and then they have a plan for the third game. I'm telling you, I
There's
got
a lot of time between.
Maybe I misinterpreted.
There's a lot
it.
of time though between that third preseason game and the start of the regular season.
Yeah,
I don't
like
hate
2
on them
weeks?
playing.
Is it? I don't hate on them playing either. In fact, I'd like to see him play. The more, the merrier for me. If you go by again Rigo's Rag, where I like to steal a lot of my information, so heads up to those guys. Good job. They said that the offense looked great yesterday. McLaurin, Luke McCaffrey, John Dotson, who's been kind of under everybody's microscope. Zacchaeus, Zach Ertz, they all did great.
So a good offensive day, it sounds
Good
like.
offensive day, but you know who looked really good? Jayden Daniels. That according to whoever is giving this guy information. They say he missed one pass in practice all day. One pass. He said Daniels, this is the quote, Daniels was almost flawless on day 13 of training camp. There was only one incomplete pass, which was almost brought in for a touchdown by Terry McLaurin. And then they have a throw that the Commanders put out there that he completed with Zach Ertz that everybody's going crazy about. I'm telling you, Ertz is popping in camp.
Getting back to Daniels possibly playing in that third game against the Patriots. That game would be on the 25th?
Sunday the 25th, 8 p.m.
And they don't play until September 8th. That's week 1, September 8th.
Correct.
All right, so that's if he doesn't play, you're talking about
3 weeks.
Without playing. But again, do you want to sit him? You want to play him behind backup linemen, or do you want to play him just to see him get some more reps?
They'll probably play some starting linemen if they play him.
No, they will. But I'm wondering how many.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't play in that third game, that's a long time off.
One thing he seemed to make an emphasis of, and maybe I'm having a hard time articulating this, but is that he's trying to get the guys slowly acclimated to the routine of the regular season. And so the first week they had whatever, they're not doing game planning yet. I know Chick Hernandez asked them about, they're not game planning, obviously, against preseason opponents, but they're starting to get into that mode. So by that third preseason game, they'll have whatever, morning practice, morning meetings, whatever their schedule is in the regular season. They're trying to slide into that mode so that by the time week 1 comes around, all the guys have been through it. They know what to expect.
I bet you they're game planning for Tampa in week 1 already.
Oh, I'm sure they have guys working on that.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. Brian Manning wrote an article about Dan Quinn praising Diami Brown. Diami Brown raises some eyebrows for people. Of course, I would consider him somewhat of a bust. Different than Jahan. Jahan's got 80, 90 catches in his 2 seasons. Diami has 29 receptions and entering 2024.
Now, he wasn't a first-round pick. He was a third-round pick.
He wasn't. But in 3 years, he's got 29 catches.
Oh, he's been very disappointing, for sure.
Underwhelming. But maybe the staff just couldn't quite figure out how to use him. They say he had a strong offseason. Quinn talks about how he saw some stuff in the spring that got his attention. Here's a quote. He says, "One, I think you've seen some big plays from Diami throughout this training camp. There's actually some stuff in the spring that got my attention. And his ability to get on top of people, he's got size, he's got length. And then he talks about that play in the game is something that transferred from the one-on-one drill. So it was nice to see some stuff in practice actually happen in the game." So
you would have thought, though, that if Diami was going to break out, it would have happened last year because he had played with Sam Howell before.
Yeah, but Sam was under duress, and they were rotating the receivers a lot, and I don't think Bieniemy had a clue.
Well, Zach Kruger said that Diami played the majority of his snaps in college on the outside.
Like 99% or something.
I don't think Diami was playing a lot of the outside snaps, was he?
Right.
I think he was. I think he pretty much
played a lot
feature
of
him on outside, and they run go routes with Diami. That's what his thing is.
Dude, he wasn't in there a lot. That's all I can tell you.
He didn't have a lot of targets.
He wasn't in there a lot.
Well, think about it. When you have Curtis Samuel, who's an established receiver, as well as Dotson and McLaurin, he's only going to get in there as the fourth receiver.
True.
Or when somebody else is out.
It's true. But anyway, that's about all I got on you. I think today is a travel day.
Today's travel day because they have the joint practice tomorrow.
Joint practice tomorrow, and then the second preseason game is Saturday. At what time?
7 o'clock.
Right, more traditional evening deal.
Yeah, and then the third preseason game is Sunday night at 8.
Right.
But maybe we'll see Daniels, but you're not going to see a lot of those starters.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Quinn's got a different idea.
Maybe.
I could be totally wrong, and this could blow up in my face. I got the sense that he's planning on playing Daniels in that third
I wonder
game.
what his history is as a head coach when he was at Atlanta, how he played those guys in that final preseason game.
Well, it's just different now because they play 3 instead of 4. So he might be used to just having the 3.
That's true.
Or, you know what I mean? The guy's playing in 3 games. Who knows? I wish they'd get rid of all this freaking preseason stuff. Just do a couple joint practices, make your cuts, and do like college football.
Couple additional notes about Jayden Daniels. I have this up on our Instagram page, Sports Junkies Radio. But Bart Scott, for what it's worth, likes him as offensive rookie of the year. And then PFF put out their highest graded rookie quarterbacks of the week, preseason week 1. I know the guy only threw 3 passes.
Yeah, I mean, he's in for one drive.
But they grade every snap.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Milton was actually number 1 from New England. Jayden Daniels, number 2. They graded him at 85.1. J.J. McCarthy, who now is going to miss significant time, was graded number 3. So interesting, because I thought Caleb played well. If you looked at Caleb Williams' passes, and you got a taste of Caleb's arm. Like, he had one rollout and just threw a laser like 30 yards
against
down the right. Well, that was a different one that he was about to get sacked and threw one of those against his body. And I think that one for like 40 yards. So,
by the way, did they have the second episode of Hard Knocks? Is that out like maybe as of yesterday, I think?
It would have been in, Tuesday nights, right?
You know, a lot of people were sending me pictures of Caleb's like kind of purse that he walks around with. It was some sort of like high-end luxury purse thingy.
Yeah.
I don't know if is it also in the second episode.
I think those rich guys, though, they'll get a Louis Vuitton, whatever it is, to carry around their toiletries.
Louis Vuitton backpack.
A lot of them have those.
Right.
And it's a different cat.
Why's it got to be a purse?
I don't know. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but that's not a Caleb thing. I mean, LeBron carries those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah, I brought it up last week.
High fashion.
Shannon Sharp.
I think all those guys are nutty.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. Get if you want to have some fancy bag, get a backpack.